Saudi Arabia is opening up to research thousands of never-before-studied ancient sites.
This is an area that has had very little archaeological explorations. So we're kind of like explorers, really.
They're finding evidence
Wow.
of mysterious prehistoric ritual.
In a land renowned for its ancient traditions and sacred history, a groundbreaking discovery has shaken the world, right in the heart of Saudi Arabia. This astonishing find, made by non-believers, has left scientists reeling and could completely rewrite what we thought we knew about history and faith. What is this mysterious discovery, and why is it sparking such a heated debate? Join us as we journey deep into Saudi Arabia, a land known as the Cradle of Islam, home to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. But this time, the spotlight isn't on Islam. This discovery is so unexpected, so unexplainable, that both religious believers and skeptics alike are questioning everything. What could this mean for Christians? Could this revelation change how we understand the past? Let's uncover the truth behind the discovery that's sending shockwaves across the globe.
The evidence is all around us that this is the true Mount Sinai. Now, I know there are many proposed locations for the Mountain of God.
Mount Sinai is one of the most significant sites in the world, revered by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Traditionally identified as a mountain located in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, it has long been believed to be the place where Moses received the Ten Commandments from God. However, recent studies and emerging theories have challenged this traditional view, suggesting that Mount Sinai might actually be located in Saudi Arabia. This new hypothesis has sparked considerable debate, offering fresh insights into a site that holds immense spiritual and historical importance across the Abrahamic faiths. For the three major Abrahamic religions, Mount Sinai is a deeply holy place. In Judaism, it represents the physical location where the Israelites encountered God in an extraordinary and transformative event. According to the Torah, Mount Sinai is where Moses ascended the mountain and received the Ten Commandments inscribed on stone tablets, a defining moment that established the covenant between God and the Israelites. This covenant reinforces the belief that the Jewish people are God's chosen, tasked with upholding His laws and teachings. The Book of Deuteronomy further emphasizes the importance of this covenant, urging the Israelites to obey God's commandments as a sign of their faith and devotion. Mount Sinai thus symbolizes the unique relationship between the Jewish people and their Creator. For Christians, Mount Sinai carries a similar significance, but with an added layer of spiritual meaning. The Ten Commandments are viewed as foundational principles for Christian ethics and morality. Additionally, Christians see Mount Sinai as a precursor to Mount Zion, a heavenly place where God's glory is fully revealed and shared with His followers. This symbolism ties into Jesus Christ's teachings, particularly the Sermon on the Mount, where He emphasized the importance of understanding the spirit behind the law rather than merely adhering to its literal interpretation. Mount Sinai is also linked to the Transfiguration of Jesus, an event where Jesus appeared in divine glory alongside Moses and Elijah, further solidifying its importance in Christian theology. In Islam, Mount Sinai, referred to as Jabal Musa or the Mountain of Moses, is similarly regarded as a sacred site. The Quran recounts how Moses received the Torah from God on this mountain, an event that underscores the importance of obedience and faith in God's commands. Islamic teachings highlight Moses' patience, perseverance, and devotion as he led his people out of Egypt and communicated God's message to them. The mountain also symbolizes God's mercy, as it was the site where He forgave the Israelites for their transgressions and renewed His covenant with them. Across all three religions, Mount Sinai is more than just a physical location. It is a symbol of faith, divine revelation, and humanity's connection to God. Despite its shared significance, however, the exact location of Mount Sinai remains a mystery, fueling centuries of speculation and exploration. For centuries, Mount Sinai has been traditionally identified with a mountain in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, near the southwestern tip of the country. This majestic peak, rising nearly 7,500 feet above sea level, has become a destination for pilgrims seeking to walk in the footsteps of Moses and experience its spiritual resonance. At the base of the mountain lies St. Catherine's Monastery, one of the oldest continuously operating Christian monasteries in the world. Founded in 527 AD by Emperor Justinian, the monastery was established to honor the hermit monks who had long revered the area as a holy site. St. Catherine's Monastery holds immense historical and religious significance. Its Byzantine architecture, ancient icons, and treasures, including the world's oldest continually operating library, attract visitors from around the globe. This library houses manuscripts and books dating back to the 4th century, preserving a wealth of religious and historical knowledge. Among its most cherished features is the Chapel of the Burning Bush, believed to mark the very spot where God spoke to Moses through a bush that burned without being consumed. For Christians, this site serves as a profound reminder of God's presence and guidance in the lives of his followers. Over the centuries, the monastery has witnessed significant historical shifts. During the Fatimid Caliphate, a chapel within the monastery was converted into a mosque, symbolizing the region's shared religious heritage. Though the mosque fell into neglect under the Ottoman Empire, it was restored in the early 20th century and continues to be used for special occasions. The monastery's rich history and spiritual significance make it a cornerstone of the traditional identification of Mount Sinai. Despite the long-standing association with Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, some researchers have proposed alternative locations for Mount Sinai. In recent years, one of the most compelling theories suggests that the true Mount Sinai may be located in Saudi Arabia. This hypothesis gained traction in 1873 when British explorer Charles Beck proposed that Mount Sinai was actually a volcanic mountain in the Arabian Peninsula. Becke based his theory on biblical descriptions of smoke, fire, and thunder emanating from the mountain, which he interpreted as volcanic activity. Beck's proposed location focused on the mountains near the Gulf of Aqaba, particularly Jabal al-Lawz, also known as the Mountain of Light. He argued that this location better aligned with Moses' journey from Midian, which is traditionally associated with northwest Arabia. However, upon exploring Jabal al-Lawz, Becke discovered that it was not volcanic and ultimately retracted his volcanic hypothesis. Despite this, he maintained his belief that the mountain's location in Arabia was more consistent with biblical accounts. Following Beck's work, other scholars and explorers supported the idea of an Arabian location for Mount Sinai. Austrian-Czech scholar Alois Musil and British explorer Harry St. John Philby conducted extensive research in the region, providing additional evidence for this theory. Proponents of the Saudi Arabian hypothesis point to archaeological findings and geographic features that seem to match descriptions in the Bible. For example, some claim that Jabal al-Lawz's blackened peak could be evidence of the divine fire described in Exodus. Others have noted nearby sites that may correspond to biblical landmarks, such as the altar built by Moses and the split rock where he struck water for the Israelites. The mystery of Mount Sinai's true location remains unresolved, with scholars and researchers divided over competing theories. Traditionalists continue to support the Sinai Peninsula as the most likely site, citing its long-standing religious significance and historical associations. Meanwhile, proponents of the Arabian location argue that the evidence from biblical texts and archaeological findings strongly supports their case. This debate is further complicated by differing interpretations of biblical descriptions. While some scholars take these accounts literally, others view them as metaphorical or symbolic, making it difficult to pinpoint a specific geographic location. For instance, the descriptions of smoke, fire, and thunder on Mount Sinai may refer to a storm rather than volcanic activity, as Becke eventually suggested. Such ambiguities highlight the challenges of reconciling ancient texts with modern scientific and historical methods. Mount Sinai continues to captivate the imagination of believers and scholars alike. As a symbol of faith and divine revelation, it holds a special place in the hearts of Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Whether located in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula or Saudi Arabia, the mountain's spiritual significance transcends its physical location. It serves as a reminder of humanity's enduring quest to connect with the divine, to seek guidance, and to live in accordance with God's will. While the exact location of Mount Sinai may remain a mystery, its legacy as a holy site and a source of inspiration for millions around the world is undeniable.
Flash floods have hit parts of Saudi Arabia as heavy rainfall has been recorded across the kingdom since last week.
In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Charles Montague Doty, a British explorer, and H. St. John Philby, a British intelligence officer, became key figures in the search for the true location of Mount Sinai. Philby, in particular, documented his extensive travels across the Arabian Peninsula in books like The Heart of Arabia and Arabian Highlands. His observations led him to propose that Jabal al-Manifa, located near Wadi al-Ab, could be the true Mount Sinai. After visiting Jabal al-Nur in 1952, Philby argued that Jabal al-Manifa better matched biblical descriptions of Mount Sinai compared to locations traditionally believed to be the site, such as those in Egypt or Jordan. In 1971, French scholar John Koog put forth another theory, identifying Halal Badr, a volcanic peak in Saudi Arabia, as the possible location of Mount Sinai. Koog presented his case in an article titled Sinaitic Itineraries in Arabia, where he detailed his interpretation of biblical and historical accounts. His work built on the findings of earlier researchers such as Charles Baker, Alois Mouille, and H. St. John Philby, providing a comprehensive collection of evidence and reasoning. Despite the compelling nature of his arguments, Koog's theory was not without controversy. However, another even more contentious proposal has garnered significant attention over the years. If Koog's theory seemed provocative, who could challenge it further? The answer lies with American researcher Ron Wyatt. Ron Wyatt, an amateur archaeologist and biblical enthusiast, is widely known for his controversial theories about biblical locations and artifacts. Among his numerous claims, Wyatt also proposed that Mount Sinai was located in Saudi Arabia, but he identified a different mountain than those suggested by Philby and Koog. Wyatt pointed to a site he referred to as the Mountain of Almonds, located in northwest Saudi Arabia near the Jordanian border and the Gulf of Aqaba. Wyatt supported his hypothesis with a range of purported discoveries, including sites he claimed to be Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Red Sea crossing, and even the Ark of the Covenant. These discoveries served as the foundation for his belief in the mountain's identification as Mount Sinai. Wyatt's theory stemmed from his interpretation of Exodus 3:1, which describes Moses tending the flocks of Jethro, a priest of Midian. Wyatt reasoned that since Jethro lived in the land of Midian, the mountain of God, where Moses encountered the burning bush, must also be in Midian. In 1978, Wyatt claimed to have discovered the site of the Red Sea crossing at Nuweiba, on the Gulf of Aqaba. From there, he concluded that the real Mount Sinai must lie to the east of the Red Sea crossing within modern-day western Saudi Arabia. He identified Jabal al-Lawz as the most likely candidate, noting its prominence as the highest peak in the western Saudi Arabian mountain range. Wyatt's explorations in the region yielded what he described as compelling archaeological evidence supporting his claim. He discovered a large encampment near the base of Jabal al-Lawz, which he suggested could be the site of the Israelite encampment mentioned in the biblical account of the Exodus. Among his findings was a large pile of granite rocks decorated with carvings of bulls, cows, and oxen, located about a quarter mile from the mountain's base. Wyatt theorized that this site might be the very altar of the golden calf mentioned in the story of the Israelites' rebellion at Mount Sinai. Wyatt's claims extended beyond these carvings. He pointed to an ash-covered mountaintop, which he believed was evidence of the divine fire described in the Bible. He also identified a massive split rock, which he argued was the source of water for the Israelites, as described in Exodus 17:6. Additionally, Wyatt claimed to have discovered 12 stone pillars beneath the mountain, which he associated with the 12 tribes of Israel. He saw these artifacts as further proof of the Israelites' presence at the mountain during their journey through the wilderness. Wyatt's enthusiasm for connecting his proposed location of Mount Sinai to other biblical events led him to make additional controversial claims. For instance, he argued that remnants of Pharaoh's chariots could be found on the seabed near the Red Sea crossing site. Wyatt also claimed to have discovered evidence of ash and burned stones at Jabal al-Lawz, which he attributed to the divine fire that descended upon Mount Sinai. Despite his passion and dedication, Wyatt's theories have been met with significant skepticism from scholars and archaeologists. One major criticism is that Wyatt was not a formally trained archaeologist. His research methods often lacked the rigor and documentation expected in professional archaeological studies. Wyatt did not publish his findings in peer-reviewed journals, a critical avenue for scholarly validation. Instead, he shared his discoveries through his own writings, presentations, and media appearances, making it difficult for his work to withstand academic scrutiny. Another issue is Wyatt's unconventional approach, which frequently led to conflicts with authorities. His activities in Saudi Arabia, which included collecting artifacts and entering restricted areas, resulted in his arrest and imprisonment on charges of espionage. Such incidents further damaged his credibility within the academic community. Biblical scholars have also challenged Wyatt's interpretation of the New Testament's geographical references. In Galatians 4:25, the Apostle Paul mentions Mount Sinai as being in Arabia. However, maps from the 1st century AD depict Arabia as a much larger region than modern-day Saudi Arabia. This broader definition of Arabia encompassed the Sinai Peninsula, parts of northern Egypt, and the Arabian Peninsula. If Paul's reference to Arabia was based on the geographical understanding of his time, it does not necessarily confirm that Mount Sinai lies within the borders of contemporary Saudi Arabia. Adding another layer to the discussion is the intriguing history of the Arabian Peninsula itself. While exploring the proposed locations of Mount Sinai, one might overlook the fact that the region's arid deserts were not always lifeless. Historical and scientific evidence suggests that the Arabian landscape once boasted lush greenery, fertile valleys, and flowing rivers. Ancient texts, including the Quran, celebrate the wonders of creation, emphasizing the abundance of plants and their role in sustaining life. These descriptions align with accounts by historians and travelers such as Herodotus and Josephus, who documented a land teeming with life. Fossil evidence further supports this narrative, revealing remnants of ancient ecosystems that included elephants, hippos, and crocodiles. This vibrant past stands in stark contrast to the desolate terrain of modern Saudi Arabia. It offers a glimpse into a bygone era when the region's abundant resources supported trade and flourishing civilizations. Such a context deepens the mystery of Mount Sinai's true location, as the landscape described in biblical accounts may have been shaped by the region's historical climate and geography. The search for the true Mount Sinai remains one of the most compelling and debated topics in biblical archaeology. From the meticulous observations of early explorers like Philby to the bold claims of Ron Wyatt, each theory contributes to our understanding of the region's historical and religious significance. While some proposals may lack scholarly rigor, they ignite curiosity and inspire further exploration. The mystery of Mount Sinai's location invites us to look beyond the desert sands and into the pages of history, where ancient landscapes and sacred texts converge to reveal a story that transcends time.
There was so much evidence. It felt like I walked into something that was 3,500 years old undisturbed.
The remarkable discoveries in Saudi Arabia paint a vivid picture of its transformation over millennia, revealing a land far removed from its current arid landscapes. Fossilized evidence, archaeological finds, and geological studies suggest that this region was once a thriving, verdant environment. These revelations not only illuminate the ecological history of Saudi Arabia, but also offer profound insights into the lives of ancient human populations and their interactions with the land. The presence of seahorse fossils in Saudi Arabia indicates the existence of shallow coastal waters once teeming with marine life. These findings, coupled with satellite imagery and fossil evidence from the Arabian Peninsula, suggest a period of much higher rainfall at least 350,000 years ago. This era supported a lush and flourishing landscape that sharply contrasts with the present-day deserts. Plant fossils unearthed in regions like Dumat al-Jandal and Jisan further corroborate this theory. These fossils include a remarkable variety of flora, such as ferns, cycads, palms, grasses, legumes, and numerous flowering plants. The range of plant species spans diverse geological periods, highlighting the rich tapestry of vegetation that graced the region over thousands of years. These discoveries underscore the ecological diversity and abundance of ancient Arabia, which likely supported a wide array of animal species and ecosystems. Beyond the ecological narrative, Saudi Arabia offers a window into human history through an array of fossilized remains and artifacts. Human fossils scattered across the region provide a captivating glimpse into the origins and evolution of humankind. These preserved bones, tools, and structures tell a story of migration, cultural development, and environmental adaptation. Sites such as Kalam al-Maidan, al-Ma'dan, and al-Ula have yielded a treasure trove of evidence. These locations have produced stone tools, pottery, inscriptions, and even ancient structures dating back to the Lower Paleolithic period, a staggering 400,000 years ago, and continuing through to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 years ago. Such findings illustrate the long history of human habitation in the Arabian Peninsula, showing how ancient populations adapted to changing climates and landscapes over millennia. Equally intriguing are the remnants of ancient marine environments. Coral reefs and seagrass beds discovered in Saudi Arabia point to a time when the region's waters were warm, clear, and nutrient-rich, supporting a vibrant array of marine life. These ecosystems, dating back millions of years, served as vital habitats for various marine species, providing shelter and sustenance in an environment far removed from the arid conditions of today. These marine findings align with the growing narrative of surprising revelations unearthed in Saudi Arabia. They offer a glimpse into a prehistoric world where aquatic ecosystems thrived alongside verdant landscapes, creating a region rich in biodiversity and natural resources. One of the most remarkable discoveries in recent years involves an ancient network of roads and tombs dating back approximately 4,500 years. These pathways, dubbed fairy avenues by archaeologists, stretch across the northwestern deserts of Saudi Arabia. Designed with ingenuity, these routes connected oases and pastures, some spanning hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. The roads cleverly followed natural rainwater sources, ensuring safe passage through the vast and often unforgiving terrain. Lining these avenues are unique burial structures known as pendants and ring burials. Pendants are circular stone formations with distinctive tails extending perpendicularly to the roads, while ring burials consist of circular enclosures with low stone walls, typically around 2 meters high and 20 meters long. These fascinating tombs hold the remains of ancient peoples along with their grave goods, offering valuable insights into their burial practices and cultural traditions. Among the most enigmatic archaeological findings in Saudi Arabia are the Mustatils, a term derived from the Arabic word for rectangle. These structures, over 1,600 of which have been identified since the 1970s, are believed to have been built approximately 7,000 years ago. Buried beneath layers of sand, these monuments were constructed during a period when the Arabian desert was far greener, featuring grasslands and even hosting animals such as elephants and hippos. The Mustatils appear to have served a ritualistic purpose for their creators, likely members of a prehistoric cult. Recent excavations provide a deeper understanding of their use. A Mustatil, located 55 kilometers east of the ancient city of Al-Ula, was documented in a study published in March 2024. This structure, measuring an impressive 140 meters in length and constructed from local sandstone, features a central upright stone known as a betel. Surrounding the betel were over 260 animal skulls and horn fragments, primarily from domesticated cattle. Additional remains of goats, gazelles, and smaller ruminants were also found, providing valuable clues about the rituals performed by this ancient community. The central betel and the animal remains suggest that Mustatils were sites of sacrificial rituals. The deliberate placement of these remains points to practices aimed at appeasing unknown deities or securing blessings for the community. One particularly intriguing aspect of this site was the discovery of a burial chamber, or ast, adjacent to the beetle. Radiocarbon dating revealed that the human remains in the chamber were interred approximately 400 years after the animal sacrifices. This discrepancy suggests that the Mustatil served as a pilgrimage site for an extended period, with successive generations or different groups returning for ritualistic purposes. The continued use of these structures underscores their enduring cultural and spiritual significance. The rituals and sacrifices performed at Mustatils likely played a deeply ingrained role in the lives of their creators, reflecting their efforts to connect with the divine and ensure the prosperity of their land in an ever-changing environment. The discoveries in Saudi Arabia offer a fascinating glimpse into a region rich with history, biodiversity, and human ingenuity. From seahorse fossils that hint at ancient marine ecosystems to the verdant plant life that once thrived across the Arabian Peninsula, the evidence reveals a land far removed from the arid desert we see today. These findings not only reconstruct the environmental history of the region, but also shed light on the cultural and spiritual practices of its ancient inhabitants. The Mustatils, fairy avenues, and burial structures speak to the resourcefulness and creativity of these early communities, who adapted to and thrived in their environment. The rituals performed at Mustatils, the careful construction of roads connecting oases, and the sophisticated burial practices all point to a society deeply connected to its surroundings and guided by complex beliefs and traditions. As research continues, the Arabian Peninsula's past reveals itself as a tapestry of life, culture, and mystery. Each discovery adds another layer to our understanding of this ancient land, emphasizing the importance of preserving its archaeological heritage. These findings not only enrich our knowledge of human history, but also inspire a deeper appreciation for the resilience and adaptability of the people who once called this region home.
Have you ever associated Saudi Arabia with scorching heat, dryness, and vast deserts? Historically, the country has been predominantly arid, with annual rainfall rarely exceeding 150 mm. However, a remarkable transformation is currently underway. Have you heard about the astonishing phenomenon occurring in the heart of the desert? Picture this. Once barren landscapes are swiftly morphing into lush farmlands, defying all expectations and puzzling even the most seasoned scientists. What could be driving this unexpected shift? Join us as we delve into the mysteries of this desert metamorphosis. Could it be divine intervention, or is there a scientific explanation behind this remarkable transformation? Let's unravel the secrets together. But first, take a moment to witness this captivating phenomenon in action by watching this video. The greening of Saudi Arabia. In a remarkable turn of events, Saudi Arabia has undergone a stunning transformation, defying its historical reputation for aridity. Following heavy rainfall that caused flooding in areas like Mecca, a surprising aftermath emerged. Vast stretches of once barren desert have flourished into verdant green landscapes, particularly in the western regions. The excess water from the rainy spells has nurtured the land, resulting in lush meadows and flowing rivers where none were seen before. Lakes now fill the depressions, teeming with life, while camels graze on fresh grass and once lifeless bushes burst with vibrant colors. This dramatic greening hasn't gone unnoticed. Even NASA's satellites orbiting the Earth capture the flourishing vegetation from space. Some Muslims perceive this greenery as fulfillment of a prophecy, foretelling the rejuvenation of Arabia with meadows and rivers before the final hour arrives. Scientifically, this period of heavy rains marks the conclusion of the glacial age, which has shaped Earth's surface over the past 2 million years through cycles of glaciation and thawing. Amidst this surprising ecological revival, an unusual occurrence took place. A river of ice water and hailstones flowed through the Arabian desert, further illustrating the extraordinary shifts underway in this once barren land. Unusual weather phenomena. The Arabian desert was blanketed in an eerie white after a severe hailstorm swept through the region. This surreal phenomenon unfolded on a significant scale across various parts of Saudi Arabia, coating the sandy landscapes of Hail City and the Asir region with thick layers of hailstones. Social media buzzed with images capturing the extraordinary sight of a camel traversing the hail-covered terrain. Following the hailstorm, flash floods surged through Hail province in northern Saudi Arabia, triggered by the rapid melting of the heavy hail accumulations. This extraordinary sequence of events showcases the unpredictable nature of weather patterns in the region, leaving observers awestruck by the desert's fleeting transformation into a wintry landscape. In the vast expanse of the Arabian desert, a peculiar and surreal event unfolded. A severe hailstorm blanketed the desert in a pristine white coat, an astonishing sight to behold. Across different regions of Saudi Arabia, intense storms accompanied by hail occurred on a massive scale, leaving behind a landscape transformed by nature's hand. Thick layers of hailstones completely covered the once sandy terrain of Hail City and extended towards the Asir region, rendering the desert a picturesque tableau of contrasting colors. Amidst the aftermath, an image circulated on social media networks, capturing the curious juxtaposition of a camel navigating the hail-strewn desert floor, a striking testament to the whims of weather and the resilience of life in unexpected conditions. However, the transient beauty of the hail-covered desert soon gave way to another natural phenomenon. A flash flood surged through Hail province in northern Saudi Arabia, carving its path through the desert landscape as the heavy hailstorms melted under the warmth of the sun. 1. The decline of English-speaking nations. As prophesied, the decline of end-time Israelites, encompassing nations such as the United States and Great Britain, heralds a period of upheaval characterized by war, financial collapse, and societal decay. This decline serves as a precursor to the fulfillment of biblical prophecies concerning the fate of Israel and its role in end-time events. 2. A 10-member European-centered superstate. The emergence of a powerful European-centered superstate comprising 10 nations or groups of nations signifies the final resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire. This geopolitical entity, depicted in biblical prophecies as the beast, wields significant influence and authority in the end-time landscape, shaping global events under the guidance of its dictatorial ruler. 3. A powerful false church. Concurrent with the rise of the European superstate is the ascendance of a powerful false church, symbolized in biblical texts as the Great Harlot and the Mother of Harlots. Led by the false prophet, this religious institution exerts immense influence over political and social spheres, perpetuating deception and persecution against God's people. 4. New alliances and the King of the South. The shifting geopolitical landscape gives rise to new alliances and power dynamics, notably between Europe and the Arab world. The emergence of the King of the South, likely a coalition of Islamic nations, poses a significant challenge to the authority of the European superstate, leading to tensions and conflicts with far-reaching implications. 5. A vast Asian power bloc. Revelation foretells the rise of a great Asian regional power, characterized by its massive armies and formidable presence on the world stage. This Asian bloc plays a pivotal role in the end-time scenario, engaging in conflict with the forces aligned with the King of the North, as described in biblical prophecies. 6. The gospel preached in all nations. Amidst geopolitical upheaval and societal unrest, the mandate to preach the gospel of the kingdom to all nations remains paramount. Despite challenges and persecution, God's message of redemption and salvation must reach every corner of the globe, serving as a witness to all nations before the culmination of end-time events. 7. The bride of Christ prepares for his return. As the world hurtles towards its prophesied conclusion, the end-time Church of God prepares itself to serve the living Christ at his return. Through spiritual growth, steadfast faith, and obedience to God's commandments, believers equip themselves to fulfill their destined roles as leaders and teachers in the kingdom of God. In contemplating these end-time conditions, believers are urged to maintain vigilance and spiritual discernment, recognizing the signs of the times and preparing themselves for the imminent return of Christ. Just as the changing weather patterns in Saudi Arabia serve as reminders of divine providence, so too do these end-time conditions offer glimpses into the unfolding drama of biblical prophecy, beckoning believers to heed the call of spiritual readiness and anticipation. The return of Jesus. Preparing for the coming of God encompasses recognizing and interpreting the natural phenomena that occur around us. While these occurrences may sometimes evoke confusion, they are never mere happenstance. Rather, they are manifestations of God's will. Thus, it is imperative that we heed the signs and make adequate preparations. First and foremost, we must be ready at all times, living each day as though Jesus could return imminently. None of us knows when our time on earth will end, so it is essential to continually seek Jesus' righteousness and the filling of His Holy Spirit. This daily preparation ensures that we are spiritually equipped for whatever lies ahead. Additionally, we must cultivate endurance as we await Christ's return. While the early Christians eagerly anticipated Jesus' imminent arrival, we learn from the Bible that his return may be delayed. Jesus likened this waiting period to that of servants entrusted with their master's household during his absence. We are urged to stay vigilant, lest we be caught unprepared when he returns unexpectedly. Jesus provided us with signs indicating the nearness of his return. He cautioned against becoming consumed by worldly cares and distractions, urging us to maintain spiritual readiness. Likewise, the Apostle James encourages patience, likening it to the patience of a farmer awaiting the harvest. As we await the fulfillment of God's promises, we must fortify our hearts and remain steadfast in our faith. Ultimately, the return of Jesus heralds the establishment of God's kingdom on earth, a time of renewal and transformation. It marks the end of this present age characterized by suffering and strife, ushering in a new era of peace and righteousness. In God's kingdom, all of humanity will be offered salvation and eternal life, and the world will be liberated from the chains of injustice and oppression. While weather forecasters excel at predicting earthly phenomena, our focus extends beyond the temporal to the eternal. We eagerly anticipate the arrival of God's kingdom, where true sunshine, divine enlightenment, and fulfillment will reign supreme. By discerning the signs of the times and remaining faithful to God's commandments, we can anticipate the imminent arrival of His kingdom and prepare accordingly. In summary, preparation for God's coming entails vigilant observation of the signs around us, coupled with spiritual readiness and endurance. As we await the establishment of God's kingdom, we hold fast to the hope of a future characterized by peace, righteousness, and eternal life. Let us heed Jesus' admonition to watch and be ready, for the kingdom of God is indeed drawing near. As we conclude our enlightening journey into prophecy and preparation for the coming of God's kingdom, let us reflect on the profound insights we've gained. Through discerning the signs of the times and cultivating spiritual readiness, we stand poised for the fulfillment of divine promises. As we await the dawn of a new era, may we continue to watch, pray, and remain steadfast in our faith. Thank you for joining us. Together, let us eagerly anticipate the imminent arrival of God's kingdom, where peace, righteousness, and eternal joy await. Until we meet again, may the blessings of hope and enlightenment guide our path forward.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, a country in Western Asia, boasts a long and rich history, especially in terms of religion, particularly Islam. When thinking of Saudi Arabia, the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, which hold immense significance for Muslims, often come to mind. However, Christianity is also making surprising inroads into the country's religious landscape, especially with the emerging theory that Mount Sinai might actually be located within Saudi Arabia. Mount Sinai is a profoundly important site for the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This holy site attracts pilgrims from around the globe, eager to connect with their faith and walk in the footsteps of Moses. According to the Bible, Mount Sinai is where Moses received the 10 Commandments from God, foundational rules for Judaism and Christianity. The book of Exodus recounts how God summoned Moses to the mountaintop to receive these commandments inscribed on stone tablets. In Arabic, this mountain is referred to as Jabal Musa, meaning the mountain of Moses. For Christians, Mount Sinai symbolizes not just the receiving of the commandments, but also offers a glimpse of the heavenly Mount Zion, a place where God dwells with his followers in all his glory. The Sermon on the Mount, delivered by Jesus, emphasizes understanding the spirit behind God's laws and living a life reflecting his goodness. The Bible also connects Mount Sinai to the Transfiguration, where Jesus' appearance was transformed in the presence of Moses and Elijah, reinforcing its sacred significance. For Jews, Mount Sinai is the holiest place on earth, marking a unique encounter with God where the spiritual and physical realms converged. This moment is central to Judaism, where the religion emphasizes daily connection with God. The story of Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son Isaac is also linked to this mountain, reinforcing the belief that Jews are God's chosen people, bound by a special covenant to follow his commandments. The book of Deuteronomy reiterates this covenant, reminding the Israelites of their promise to God and the importance of adhering to his laws. Thus, Mount Sinai stands as a powerful symbol of Jewish identity and their role as God's chosen people. In Islam, the Quran acknowledges the significance of Mount Sinai, noting it as the place where God communicated with Moses and provided the Torah. This mountain represents the divine connection and the importance of following God's commands. Islamic teachings highlight Moses' patience and obedience as he delivered God's message to the Pharaoh and the Israelites. The mountain also symbolizes God's mercy, as he forgave the Israelites and gave them new laws through Moses. Therefore, Mount Sinai holds a revered position in Islam, exemplifying the bond between humans and God and the imperative of staying true to his will. The exact location of Mount Sinai, however, remains a mystery. While traditionally identified with the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt, some recent theories propose it might be in Saudi Arabia. This potential re-identification could have profound implications for religious history and pilgrimage practices. Across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Mount Sinai is a shared symbol of faith, representing a profound connection to God. For Jews, it embodies the moment of divine revelation and their unique covenant with God. Christians view it as a precursor to heavenly glory and a testament to Jesus' teachings. For Muslims, it signifies divine communication and the importance of obedience to God's commands. Despite its elusive location, the towering peak of Mount Sinai continues to hold deep significance for the followers of these three major religions, symbolizing their shared heritage and spiritual journeys. Where exactly is this holy mountain located? The exact location of the holy mountain, traditionally known as Mount Sinai, has been a topic of debate for centuries. Historically, Mount Sinai has been placed in Egypt, near the southwestern tip of the country, close to the border with Israel. This majestic mountain, which rises nearly 7,500 feet above sea level, is considered a sacred site and hosts several significant religious landmarks. One of the most notable is St. Catherine's Monastery, nestled on the Sinai Peninsula. Founded in 527 AD by Emperor Justinian I, this monastery is one of the oldest continuously operating monasteries in the world. Its establishment was inspired by hermit monks who frequented and eventually settled in the area. St. Catherine's Monastery's legacy extends far beyond its age. It also houses the world's oldest continually operating library, containing ancient manuscripts and books dating back to the 4th century. The monastery's stunning Byzantine architecture and a collection of awe-inspiring icons draw pilgrims from all over the world. Within its walls lies the Chapel of the Burning Bush, believed to be the very spot where God spoke to Moses through a burning bush. For Christians worldwide, St. Catherine's Monastery is a significant pilgrimage destination. The monastery's history is rich and layered. During the Fatimid Caliphate, an existing chapel within the monastery was transformed into a mosque, which saw regular use by Muslims until the 13th century. Today, the mosque is used only for special occasions. After a period of neglect under the Ottoman Empire, the mosque was restored in the early 20th century. Despite the monastery's historical significance, the mystery of Mount Sinai's exact location remains unsolved, with ongoing debates among scholars. Historically, various sites across the Middle East have been proposed as the true Mount Sinai. Researchers meticulously analyze the Bible and historical texts for clues. One particularly controversial theory emerged in 1873 when Charles Beck, a British explorer and scholar, proposed that Mount Sinai was a volcano. He based this idea on biblical descriptions of smoke and fire emanating from the mountain, although not ash. Additionally, he believed its location fit Moses' journey from Midian in northwest Arabia back to Egypt. Becca focused on mountains near the Gulf of Aqaba, particularly Jabal al-Lawz, also known as the Mountain of Light. However, upon reaching his proposed site, Becca discovered it wasn't volcanic. He humbly retracted his volcanic hypothesis, but maintained his belief about the location, suggesting that the biblical references might describe a storm rather than a permanent feature. This highlighted the difficulty of pinpointing the mountain's true location. While some scholars interpret the Bible metaphorically, others embraced Beck's ideas. Alternative locations like Egypt, Jordan, and Israel have also been suggested. Sadly, Beck's death soon after visiting Jabal al-Lawz prevented further exploration and potential confirmation of his theory. Scholars such as Alois Musil and H. St. John Philby supported Beck's notion of a Saudi Arabian location. Musil, an Austrian-Czech scholar, extensively explored the region in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Philby, a British intelligence officer deeply involved in the Middle East, documented his travels in books like The Heart of Arabia and Arabian Highlands. Both pointed to Jabal al-Manifa, near Wadi al-Ab, as the true Mount Sinai. After visiting Jabal al-Lawz in 1952, Philby argued that Jabal al-Manifa better matched the biblical descriptions compared to locations in Egypt or Jordan. In 1971, French scholar Jean Koenig suggested that Halal Badr, a volcanic peak in Saudi Arabia, might be the true location of Mount Sinai. He detailed his arguments in an article titled Sinaitic Itineraries in Arabia, asserting the accuracy of his interpretation. Building on the work of earlier researchers such as Charles Beck, Alois Musil, and H. St. John Philby, Koenig provided a thorough collection of evidence and reasoning. Despite the strength of his argument, an even more controversial proposal has gained attention. In recent years, another theory has emerged, proposing that Mount Sinai is located in northwest Saudi Arabia. This idea, supported by some contemporary researchers, suggests that Jabal al-Lawz is the actual site. Proponents of this theory argue that the geographical and archaeological evidence aligns more closely with the biblical account. This location is controversial because it challenges the traditional identification of Mount Sinai on the Sinai Peninsula. and suggests a significant rethinking of biblical geography. The mystery of Mount Sinai's exact location continues to captivate scholars and believers alike. Whether in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, or another proposed site, the quest to find this sacred mountain underscores the enduring significance of Mount Sinai in the religious histories of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Who was found it? Ron Wyatt, an American researcher known for his contentious and widely debated theories, proposed several unconventional ideas regarding biblical archaeology. Wyatt's theories gained significant attention, particularly his belief that Mount Sinai was located in Saudi Arabia. However, he identified a different site than traditionally accepted, pointing to Jabal al-Lawz, or the Mountain of Almonds, in northwest Saudi Arabia, near the Jordanian border and the Gulf of Aqaba. Theories and discoveries. Wyatt's hypothesis was rooted in his interpretation of Exodus 3:1, which describes Moses tending the flocks of Jethro, a priest of Midian. Wyatt reasoned that the mountain of God Moses encountered had to be within the land of Midian, placing it in modern-day Saudi Arabia. His journey to this conclusion began in 1978 when he claimed to have discovered the Red Sea crossing site at Nuweiba, along the Gulf of Aqaba. Following this, Wyatt concluded that the true Mount Sinai must be located east of the Red Sea crossing site, within the mountain ranges of western Saudi Arabia. Jabal al-Lawz, the highest peak in the region, became his prime candidate. To substantiate his claims, Wyatt pointed to what he considered archaeological evidence of a large encampment near the mountain, which he suggested was where the Israelites camped before their exodus. Additionally, he found a large pile of granite rocks decorated with images of bulls, cows, and oxen, located about a quarter-mile from the mountain's base. Wyatt theorized that this could be the very altar mentioned in the story of the Golden Calf, built by the Israelites at the foot of Mount Sinai. Wyatt's enthusiasm extended beyond these discoveries. He connected his proposed Red Sea crossing site to what he believed were remnants of Pharaoh's chariots on the seabed. He interpreted the ash-covered mountaintop as evidence of the biblical fire of God and a massive split rock as proof of a powerful water flow. Further, he discovered 12 stone pillars beneath the mountain and other artifacts, which he believed were linked to the Israelites' time near the mountain and their exodus from Egypt. Skepticism and criticism. Despite the intriguing nature of Wyatt's discoveries, his theories have faced significant skepticism from scholars for several reasons. First, Wyatt was not a formally trained archaeologist. His research was conducted independently, and his methods lacked the rigorous structure and documentation expected in professional archaeology. Wyatt did not publish his findings in peer-reviewed journals, where experts critically evaluate research before it is made public. Instead, he shared his information based on personal interpretations, often leading to disputes within the academic community. Second, Wyatt's unconventional methods led to conflicts with authorities. His activities, which included trespassing and collecting artifacts, resulted in his arrest and imprisonment by the Saudi Arabian government on suspicion of espionage. These legal issues further undermined the credibility of his work. Third, some biblical scholars argue about the interpretation of the term Arabia in the New Testament passage, Galatians 4:25. The Apostle Paul mentions Mount Sinai being in Arabia. However, it is important to consider that Arabia, on maps from the 1st century AD, referred to a much larger area than modern-day Saudi Arabia. This broader region, included the Sinai Peninsula, northern Egypt, and the Arabian Peninsula itself. This wider definition challenges the notion that Mount Sinai must be located specifically within the borders of modern Saudi Arabia. If Paul was referencing a map of his time, Arabia could have encompassed not only Saudi Arabia, but also other regions, creating a vast desert area that complicates Wyatt's theory. Saudi Arabia's ancient ecosystem. While exploring the fascinating discoveries in Saudi Arabia, it is important to recognize the region's historical and ecological context. Saudi Arabia, known today for its vast deserts, once boasted lush greenery and vibrant ecosystems. Historical and scientific evidence reveals a bygone era of rich vegetation and diverse wildlife. The Quran, the Islamic holy book revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century CE, offers glimpses into this past. Its verses celebrate the wonders of creation, including plants and their roles in the natural world. This focus on flora aligns with historical accounts by prominent figures like Herodotus, Josephus, and Pliny the Elder. These ancient scholars and travelers described a land brimming with life, featuring lush mountains, fertile valleys, flowing rivers, and forests. Their records suggest a region rich with vegetation that supported trade and flourished due to its abundant resources. Scientific research supports these historical accounts through the study of fossils. Remnants of ancient life, including plants and animals, provide a window into Earth's history. Fossil discoveries in Saudi Arabia paint a picture of a diverse ecosystem once teeming with life. Fossils of elephants, hippos, and crocodiles indicate well-watered environments and a flourishing habitat. Additionally, the presence of seahorse fossils suggests shallow coastal waters rich in marine life. Satellite imagery and fossil evidence across the Arabian Peninsula, dating back at least 350,000 years, overwhelmingly suggest a period of much higher rainfall and a more verdant landscape. Plant fossils found in various locations like Dumat al-Jandal and Jizan substantiate this theory. These fossils encompass a remarkable range of flora, including ferns, cycads, palms, grasses, legumes, and a variety of flowering plants. Their presence spans diverse geological periods, highlighting the rich tapestry of vegetation that once graced Saudi Arabia. Human history and archaeology. The story of Saudi Arabia extends far beyond its current desert landscapes. Human fossils scattered across the region offer a captivating glimpse into the origins and evolution of humankind. These preserved bones and artifacts left by our ancestors tell stories of migration, cultural development, and interaction with the environment. Sites like Kalambo Falls, Al Maidan, and Al Ula have yielded a treasure trove of evidence, including stone tools, pottery, inscriptions, and structures. These remains date back to various epochs of human history, ranging from the Lower Paleolithic period, approximately 400,000 years ago, to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 years ago. Adding another layer to this captivating story are the discoveries of ancient marine environments. The presence of coral reefs and seagrass beds points towards a time when Saudi Arabia's waters were clear, warm, and teeming with life. These marine structures, dating back millions of years, thrived in nutrient-rich environments that provided shelter and sustenance for diverse marine creatures. This aligns with the growing theme of surprising revelations unearthed in this region. One of the most remarkable discoveries involves a network of ancient roads and tombs dating back 4,500 years. Archaeologists have dubbed these pathways funerary avenues. Located in the northwestern deserts, these long-distance routes connected oases and pastures, some stretching for hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Cleverly designed, they followed natural rain and water sources, ensuring safe passage through the vast landscape. Lining these avenues are unique tombs referred to as pendants or ring burials. Pendants are circular stone structures with distinctive tails extending perpendicular to the avenue, while ring burials are circular enclosures with low stone walls, typically around 2 meters high and 20 meters long. These fascinating tombs hold the remains of our ancestors and their grave goods, offering a window into their lives and burial practices.